why does the soul, the divine soul, come to this world? What's the point? What does it need over here? What's it getting? Is it getting anything out of all of this? Out of this world that we live in? So a soul comes into a body because the only way it can create a dwelling place for God is in this world, in a physical world where we deal with physicality. So it comes down. It's a real descent for the soul. It's in a veritable exile in a body. The body has a different agenda. It's imprisoned by the body. Even a perfect tzaddik who is not imprisoned, right? But yet the soul's love and awe of God, the way it was before being in a body, was much more profound, much greater than it is within the body. Because the soul within a body has a limitation of the body. The body cannot experience love and awe of God in a great manner. It's too much for it. It would not be able to contain it. As we experienced when we were at Mount Sinai, when our soul took flight, because it was just too much, the experience of God. So it has a much greater, loftier experience of God before it came down. So what is it coming down for? What's it gaining over here? What does it have from all of this? To come down and to even perhaps be contaminated by the evil that's done by transgressing one of the 365 prohibitions of the Torah. So the sole purpose of the soul coming down is not for itself. It doesn't need tikkun. It doesn't need fixing. It's a piece of God. But what it needs to do is to affect, to impact, to make a change in what? In my animal soul, my vital soul. And together with the vital soul, that portion of my world, the things that I own, that I can elevate it. So when I do a positive commandment, giving charity, stretching out my arm to give charity, putting on tefillin, and the like, what's happening is the soul, before it came down, was bound up to God. So it doesn't need, but why is it here? Because I have a vital soul, an animal soul, and a body that is disconnected. And it needs to be inspired by the divine soul in order to do the mitzvah and to be bound up with God, with the Ein Sof. So this is what the Arizal says in the Eitz Chaim, that Eitz Chaim, okay. That the divine soul itself does not need perfecting at all. It doesn't need it. But my vital / animal soul does, my body does. And the world around me does. So this parallels the idea of the exile of the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is exiled. The Shekhinah needs perfecting, but it's in exile. Why? In order to refine the sparks of holiness that fell from Klippa. So too the divine soul enters into an exile called the body, the vital soul, Why? In order to inspire it, that it should engage in doing a mitzvah. By engaging in doing the mitzvah, you extract the sparks of holiness that are found in the vital soul and the body and in the things in my world that I have. So I'm not transforming my animal soul, my body, into a vehicle of holiness. That's the righteous. But I am elevating it in the moment of doing a mitzvah. So, pretty powerful idea when you think about it, that I have a divine soul that doesn't come for itself. It's not living for itself. It's living to influence. That's to influence another element of me that needs influence, inspiration, needs elevation. It's quite powerful. Meaning we all can rise above ourselves and not live for ourselves. That's divine. We all even sense this when we live with our neediness, the things that we need, we feel broken. We feel it's not real. In the moment, there's a drive for it, but it leaves us feeling wanting, lacking. But when we live with what we're needed for, the mitzvah, then we feel whole, we feel complete. So the divine soul isn't needy. It's complete. So it's there to inspire, to elevate the vital soul and all of the things in my world, to elevate it, because that's what it's needed for. All right. Questions, comments, thoughts? Jane, what is the difference between being idealistic and realist? Coming from the thought of having good intentions, not to get lost and being idealistic, but really making things happen. So I'm not exactly clear on what you mean by that, Jane. Not,
Rabbi, when you have a moment, I have a question.
Sure, can you just share 1 second? Let me just, before I lose the feed of it, maybe. Will we have Ikvus the Mashiach before Mashiach comes? Will the tshuva stop it from happening? Ikvus Mashiach means just on the heels of Mashiach. Yes, so we will have that. That's now. That's what we're living through. Brett, will there be graduations of holiness based upon its revelation to performing a mitzvah, or is it everything equally uplifted? Good question. I would say that on one sense everything is equal, in the other sense everything has its uniqueness and how it's uplifted. So both things are true, Brett. Very good question. Perry, this world cannot be healed except by those who dwell within it. who make God dwell within it, Jeff. Exactly. Vilma, go ahead.
So the animal soul is what drives people, and if I got this correct, it's what teshuva is 4 is rectifying those things in the animal's soul. Is that correct?
Yes. It's returning the animal's soul is vitalized by klipas noiga, the middle form of klipa, right? Which is a mixture of good and bad. So we're taking, the divine soul comes down to inspire the animating / animal soul to do a mitzvah, right? Do a mitzvah. So it's taking, by doing the mitzvah, it's taking that element of good that is in the klipa, in the shell, and elevating it, connecting it to God, fulfilling its purpose. Exactly. And the uniqueness over here is the divine soul comes down not for its own sake. It comes down for the sake of what it's needed for. What's it needed for? To make an impact on the vital soul, on the world around me, the things in my life, right? To make that impact. What's that impact? To reveal its divine nature. That's the uniqueness. To reveal its divine nature.
So this impact starts within the actual person's, animal soul, and then like the influence comes from there, right? From the actual change or the elevation or the process, right?
It's in the act of doing the mitzvah. No, it's in the act of doing the mitzvah. That's the point. Okay?
Got it.
Okay, Jane. What I mean is people have all good intentions of doing things, but somehow it is the intention of being able to do it. So they're being just idealistic then. So you have an intention to do good, and if you're not able to do the good, so God considers and connects it to the good, firstly. And here, what's important over here, we're not talking about intention. We're going to learn, starting the next chapter, but we still have what to learn in this chapter, about intention. Right now, we're just talking about, by taking the material world around me, taking the materiality of me, which is my body and what animates it, the vital soul, right? And being inspired by my divine soul, that it came down merely to inspire. Merely, right? It doesn't need perfection. It had a greater sense of connection above. So what's it coming down here below? Is to bring that connection, to reveal the divine in the other elements of my being. Most people who believe in God and even serve God and the like, there's a duality to it. What's the duality? I go to the place of prayer and I pray, and then I do my thing, right? And I live, I do things for God, and I do things for me. Here the notion is, no. The divine soul came down to inspire and bring connection to the element in me and the things in my life that are not connected. All of the things in my life that are not connected. The only thing that's connected is my divine soul. Right? So I bring that inspiration to now do the mitzvah that God wants, whatever it is, whatever He needs me. That's the point. whatever he needs of my material things, right? He needs me to lend you this, my pen, lend it to you. He needs me to recognize him in a cup of water by making a blessing, okay? By eating some food that gives me strength so I can teach Tanya, okay? So all of that gets absorbed into the divine. David, when Mashiach comes, will the animal soul be eradicated and becomes one with the divine soul? Yes, exactly. Correct.
So the focus here, Rabbi, is on the action and what the actions of the mitzvah do.
They bring a bond of the vital soul, the right, that spark that's in the vital soul and in the body and in the mug, right, that I'm using, or the coin that I'm giving to charity, right, whatever it is elevating those elements in my life that are under the domain of klipa snoiga, of the shell. The vitality is not apparently connected to God, and by doing the mitzvah we connect it to the divine. Exactly. All right. Amazing. I gotta say, thank you all for being there, not just as you hear me and you grow, but it helps me immensely, especially with all the questions. That I have greater clarity, that the perception of God in me, in the world around me, becomes more clarified. Beautiful. A reminder, 6:30, Torah studies you don't want to miss. 8 p.m., TRC, you don't want to miss. If you're still not a part of TRC, Tanya Rabbi Community, go to tanyarabbi.com or private message me. All right. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Tzvich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day.